Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. This is Janisha Nelson, as you already know. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about life, my life, and our life as a family after miscarriage, so stay tuned.
What's up, people? You already know who it is. Even though we smiling, it's still a rough moment. But nevertheless, because we are who we are, we still decide to smile. We are currently sitting at Prisma. I think it's Prisma, right? Yeah. It used to be GHS, Greenville Hospital System. We're sitting here. My wife is getting ready to do something spectacular. What are you getting ready to do, Pat?
Well, how you gonna make me say it? I'll try to say it without crying. So yesterday at our anatomy scan, they could not find our baby's heartbeat at 20 weeks. And we found out that he passed away probably 2 or 3 days ago prior to the anatomy scan. So now we are about to be admitted into the hospital for me to give birth to our son and transition him properly, our third son.
Okay guys, so we'll go ahead and get right into it. If I start to cry, I want to share this video because it's so many people reached out to us and to me to let me know that me and my family are not alone during this time. And I just want to share a little bit about our journey recently. Last month, of course, you know, we announced that we were pregnant with our third son. Well, at the time, we hadn't said his gender, but we knew it, and we already had a name picked out. And we went for our 20-week appointment, which is the anatomy scan. And at that appointment, we found out immediately he did not have a heartbeat. And it just was so devastating. And we just really were in a state of shock because, you know, if you guys follow us, you already know that our previous birth was done at home. It was a home birth with our amazing midwifery staff at Genesis Birth and Wellness, and everything went wonderful. And actually birthed the 8.5-pound baby at home. And our firstborn, you know, he had a midwife and was born out west in a hospital, but it still was a great, you know, experience. Both of them were both healthy, so we weren't expecting any of this. So yeah, October 17th, we were at our anatomy scan, and the sonographer said there's not a heartbeat, and our baby was encased in just fluid. And so long story short, which I'm going to get into some details, but you know, of course, there's some sentimental things that, you know, I won't share just for privacy of my family and I, but we do want to share because in hopes that this video will help someone not be ashamed of their story and not be ashamed that this has happened to you, and know that you're not alone and it's not your fault. Okay, so that is my reason for sharing, and it helps me as it helps provide healing to me to know that I'm helping someone else. So immediately after, we went to our midwife, went straight to the office, and she kind of, you know, comforted us along with the staff and my nurse as well, and planned for us to, you know, get a repeat ultrasound at a maternal fetal medicine office that they, you know, like to use as well, just to verify that everything is actually correct from the sonographer that we were sent to initially. So she gave us the next steps, and so after that, um we went home and we were just trying to process. Of course, immediately, our hearts are devastated. We told the boys, Gideon and Judah, they're so little, 4 and 1. It's hard for them to really process things. But Judah just kept saying, "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry, mommy." And Gideon was just like, "My brother's died," because we told him just blatant, like, "Baby brother's, he's not alive, he's dead." We told him, we wanted it to be clear that it was not going to be a baby coming home, okay? But that mommy still, because I was 20 weeks pregnant, was going to have to be induced and admitted into the hospital to have him. And you talk about like the flight of emotions. Immediately, me and Davon both were in fight or flight, because they literally told us we could wait 2 weeks to have him, or we could have him right away. It was up to us with the timing. And the reason why we chose to just go ahead and pack a bag like she suggested was because I didn't want, whatever it was going on in my womb to affect me overall, and my health, for my family, my husband and my boys, because I still want to be here for them, right? So we just didn't feel like it was safe, even though they told us it was, to wait. Of course, that was an individual decision, but my mind and body weren't prepared to have a baby, so I'm just like, not at 20 weeks. So you're just, cramming around, rushing around, just trying to do your best to make it make sense, and still being a mommy and daddy to your other kids, because that's still, you still have to be there for them and get childcare. It was just all these things all at once. So the next day, on the 18th, we went at 2 o'clock to the repeat maternal fetal medicine scan, and in fact did see that same thing, no heartbeat. He had fluid on his brain, was encapsulated in fluid, and had some other medical conditions potentially that were going to be difficult for him to deal with later in life. So they told us that my body naturally terminated the pregnancy, and it could have been chromosomal, where he had more chromosomes that caused some of the malfunctions in my womb. But again, there was no indication or no problems during the pregnancy. Everything was normal, and I actually had started feeling him kick at 18 weeks, and I started feeling him stop kicking 2 days prior, like Sunday night, Monday morning, to the initial anatomy scan on Wednesday. So fast forward, we have the scan, we meet with the doctor, he gives us the name of what our son, they potentially think that he had, and it was a cystic hygroma and a hydrocele, which his internal organs were in a hernia outside of his body, but he was still an intact baby. So we immediately tell them, we're ready if you guys are ready, and they make us wait. They put us, in a holding area, and they said, yeah, we do have a room. If you're ready, we'll get you admitted to get the process started. And he told us it could be, 12 to 24 hours where I don't feel nothing, or the last 4 of the 24 hours I feel everything. But they did make, me feel so comfortable, and Davon comfortable, that I would be able to have, an epidural or pain medication throughout the process. Literally, they were like, whatever you want. When I tell you, the staff was phenomenal. And this is coming from a nurse who don't like hospitals, who chooses to birth at home, but phenomenal staff at the hospital where we were. So we get there. Of course, the nurses are so compassionate. They cried with me. The doctor prayed with us before getting the process started. Of course, I'm IV'd up. And I still have scars on my body just from the IVs alone, but they tried to prepare me for what was about to happen. So pretty much I had to take a pill by mouth to start the process, and then everything from that point on was inserted into my cervix to thin it and make it ripe enough for me to be able to give birth. So that was a every 4-hour process. And so something they didn't prepare me for, or Davon for, was that my water would still break. So after 2 or 3 hours of the medication getting into my system, my water actually broke. And I was like, whoa, babe, like, can you look? Can you take a look to see what's going on? I feel something. And he was like, what in the world? Well, that was my water breaking. So um, after that, the contractions started. And what I wasn't aware of is that they had given me 400 micrograms of the medication that they were using to ripen my cervix, when in fact the normal dose is typically 25 to 50 micrograms in a regular scenario. So right there, with it being 400 micrograms, I didn't know at the time, but my contractions were going to be constant and not stop at all. And that is exactly what I experienced. So if you know me, I was like anti-epidural, anti-pain medication with Judah. Of course, we had him at home, so you guys know. But in this case, I wanted to be comfortable. I didn't want to remember hurting the whole time. So I did labor with Gyra for 6 hours, about 6.5 to 7 hours. And then I was like, you know what? I had sneaked out of bed so I could use the bathroom and not wake Davon up. But he heard me moaning a little bit, and it was because of the contractions. I just couldn't get comfortable. And I thought I just needed to empty my bladder. But in fact, it was very close to the time for me to have him. So called for the epidural. They gave me the epidural. I was terrified about that because when I was in Arizona, I actually was 10 centimeters. They actually let me get an epidural because they didn't check me. And I pushed Gideon out pretty much with no epidural. And at the very end of the labor, the epidural kicked in. But that was after he missed 3 times. So I birthed Gideon naturally. And no problems, no pain medicine. And then the epidural kicks in and I'm numb. And it's just, I didn't want to go through that 3 times being stuck in my back. So I was just scared. But shout out to the anesthesiologist. He got it on the first try. Everything went smooth. I had me a epidural pump, so I was pushing that button and just staying comfortable. And so anxiety's out the roof, literally. Davon was trying to get a little bit of rest. So was I, but I was not able to sleep a wink. We labored into the night through the morning, and about 4 o'clock, they came in and did the next dose of medication, and they told me to try to take a nap. And they said, well, just if you need Benadryl or melatonin, we can get you that for sleep. But I just didn't want to miss anything or be drowsy, so I refused it. But the epidural at that time was controlling the pain, and of course you're sitting there and you're numb, pushing your button. But it was just, for me, just what's about to happen. What's it gonna really feel like? Am I gonna feel him coming out? What's about to happen? And they told me, you will know when he comes out. You're gonna still feel a lot of pressure, but you shouldn't feel pain. And so it's about 4 in the morning. I dozed off, and literally it was like 4:45. I felt this enormous pressure that woke me up. And I was like, Davon, he got up. He's like, oh my gosh. I said, he's coming out. I couldn't even, prevent it. And they did tell us that it was a possibility that he would come out without them being in the room, because I wouldn't be able to really control it. So, but I could feel everything, like him coming out. And so when he came out, I said, Davon, he's out. But the covers were over me, so we just chose to wait. And so after that, we did choose to have him wrapped up and given to us so we could love him. He had 10 fingers, 10 toes, a nose, ears, mouth, eyes, everything me and you have, our baby had. And we got to love him from the time he was born. On October 19th at 4:48 a.m. he was born, and he weighed 2.8 ounces. And they wrapped him up and they gave him to us just to love. And from that point on, it was the mourning, grieving, and the celebration of getting to just have our baby that way. Because for a lot of women, from what the doctor was telling us, a lot of women don't even get the opportunity to see their baby. They pass their babies at home, some in the toilet, and they're not really as formed as our baby was, because he was born, like at the halfway point, literally. But his size, he was measuring at 16 weeks, but I was actually 20 weeks. So he was off in the growth scale already, So after that, it was just, giving Davon time to grieve and wait until he was ready to hold him, because right away he didn't want to. He just was afraid. He didn't want to hurt him. And, even though he wasn't alive, to have his body with us was like he was our baby. And immediately my mind was like, it's no different than me of how I would treat a living baby. He was our baby. I got to love him. We got to cuddle him. We got to hold him as much as we want to. It was days that I just let him sleep in the bed next to me, and his little smell, it was wonderful. Because the chaplain staff at the hospital, shout out the chaplain Amber, she was phenomenal. She came in the morning after I had him, about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and asked could she take him with her. At the end of our conversation, she was going to get pictures for us, do a birth certificate for us, give him a bath, put him in clothes. She offered to do a baptism, which we did do a baptism the day of our discharge, so that our boys could be present for his baptism, because Gideon wanted to help us. We told him we're going to give him back to God, and that is what we, told them, so that way they wouldn't be looking for a baby once we got here. They prepared a lot of these great resources I'm going to show you guys really quickly. These are bears. This one is actually the bear that stayed in the bassinet and incubator that they had Gyra in, that we had right next to our bed in our room. And how I know this is that one is because they put a little yellow ribbon on this one. So anytime we get to missing him here, at home in our bed, we just grab this bear, and it's just, we know it was close to him, so it just helps us with the grieving process, And they did a beautiful memorial box for us, and within this box is some precious memories. Of course, pictures of his little feet, pictures of him, his certificate of birth. They actually gave him a little Bible with his feet print in it. And I actually have the ruler that they measured him with, little diapers, which he was so small, he didn't even fit one of these. So they just wrapped him up in gauze. This was actually one of his little hats that he wore. And this is his little feet print on a card that they gave us. This box is just full of very special things that I will, and Davon will, and the boys will forever cherish. And this is an outfit that he wore that I picked him out. The hospital was so wonderful, and I wanted to share all this because a lot of mamas, if you are where you have a stillborn birth or a miscarriage, it's okay to ask for clothing for your baby. I just asked, because to me, if a baby is wet or dirty, they need to be clean. And so he was leaking from some of the fluid that was on his head. So they had these little precious little outfits that you could dress them in, and he actually fit perfectly in this little pouch. You can see the blood in it. It's his blood, and I'm not gonna wash it because I want to just remember everything and keep him close. So this is what if I'm missing him, I can see it touch, smell. I can still smell him in his clothes. So it's so helpful for me as his mom to, keep these sentimental things. So these little pouches, hospitals actually have them. Another little outfit here for babies, and you get to love your baby properly before, burial, or however you decide to memorialize them. You get to actually love them and, just have that time with them that you'll never get back. So it's so important. This is a little handmade octopus toy that they had in this little bassinet, and these are the actual blankets that we had him on. They actually had the underneath these blankets was ice to keep his body flexible for us to still hold him and love him. And so you can see it on my Facebook and Instagram, some of the pictures. And they had him a little teddy bear in his incubator to kind of mimic ours. And they actually provided the boys teddy bears as well. Both Judah and Gideon got a teddy bear. And they got grief coloring books to explain the grieving process. And they also did so much more, but I'll share this. They did little molds of his feet as well. Like I said, amongst a whole bunch of other things that, that was going to be helpful for us to have. But moving into towards the end of this video, I did want to mention, understanding grief for postpartum bereaved mothers and fathers. Just some of the resources that they gave us has been so helpful in some of the effects of grief. I know personally on my body was the loss of energy moving into like the 5th or 6th day after having him. My body started kind of going into trauma responses where if I seen something or smelled something or saw, just thought of him in any way, my body started contracting like labor. And that actually happened when we initially went through our box the first time together, a few days after getting home, because we didn't go through it at the hospital. But yeah, the restlessness and irritability, I think we all had that initially, just trying to manage. Our hubby's behind the camera, so I just looked at him like to get his, we had that. But yeah, restlessness, we have been sleeping great, but I think just waking up in the middle of the night, we do still wake up. Shortness of breath, hot cold spells, things like that. Definitely during this time, I would say, to take care of yourself, mamas and daddies, you want to make yourself so vulnerable. Like, I've never been this vulnerable. Most of everything that we share is always like happy-go-lucky, like, because that's our life. But, life doesn't give you happy-go-lucky moments all the time. So our motto is when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. Now, this has been the most bitter cup of lemonade that we've had to ever make, but we're still trying to make it, make lemonade, right? So to date, as I'm doing this video, I'm 2 weeks and 4 days postpartum. So it's not like I'm far removed from my emotions. It's just that they come and go in waves. And I haven't really cried until I got ready to do this video, because I know the impact that it can have to help a mama that may be struggling with her body image, her, sleep cycles, her feelings and emotions, and maybe your spouse doesn't understand and it's causing conflict within your marriage or your family, and the kids, don't understand. So, I just wanted to share that they do have like resources on a father's grief. They have sibling grief resources that can help you navigate during this time. And definitely I would recommend getting involved in some community groups where you have contact with people that are going through the same thing that you are. And they also, of course, have Facebook groups, but for things like this, you would definitely want to have a tangible person that you can talk to and just share your feelings with. So definitely know you're doing a good job. Have grace with yourself. Eat, take care of yourself, try to get vitamin D, journal. that's really helped me every day to journal and do one or more kind things for myself. So I told Davon, just my biggest thing after birth is always making sure I get a shower and prioritize my self-care, and that's been huge in just my healing process. So definitely have grace with yourself, take your time, and just know that you are not alone, and that you can reach out to me personally on my social media platforms. Facebook and Instagram is where I most of the time am, mostly Facebook, Janisha Nelson. And you can also reach out to me on here, on YouTube. Just leave a comment, and if need be, we can direct you to a more private way to communicate with us, because we got to stick together. We got to stick together. We've all we got. And if you're a strong woman like how I am, naturally strong-willed, you're the strong one of the family, of like my siblings. Definitely know that it's okay to be vulnerable and not be at your best, and just tell people, hey, I need your prayers, I need your encouragement. And for me, it helps for me to talk about him. So definitely don't hold it in how you're feeling. Get the help that you need, and don't be ashamed. It's nothing you could have did differently. It's not your fault. And just know you're loved. And definitely, if you're new to this channel and this is the first video you're seeing, excuse the tears, but they're definitely worthy and valid at this time. But definitely be sure to subscribe, like our videos, and share, get the word out, invite your friends and family to our channel. And guys, definitely thank you for tuning in and watching up to the end of this video. Again, I'm here for you if you need anything, and just continue to keep us in your prayers. Thank you guys so much.